This is Nintendo Power Uncovered, the show where I plan on reviewing the covers of all 285 issues of Nintendo Power. From the great to the baffling to the just plain lazy, we're gonna talk about them all. We finally made it to that part of 1991 when everybody threw away their Nintendo Entertainment Systems and upgraded to 16 bits. Today's covers include Super Mario World, Star Trek, and Final Fantasy II. Yeah, there are a couple of iconic games here, but are the covers any good? That's what we're gonna find out in this episode of Nintendo Power Uncovered. I can't think of a bigger sea change than Mario and Yoshi swimming with the dolphins. That's right, the days of Koopa Kids and raccoon suits are over, because Super Mario World is a world away from Super Mario Bros. 3. Of course, in reality, the two were a lot more similar than the cover would have you believe, but go ahead and ignore reality and just soak in that ocean breeze and tropical air. With its bright colors and friendly dolphins, the cover's meant to charm and delight the reader. I mean, just look at Mario's smiling face there. This is the most excited he's been since that one time he discovered the Minus World. This is Mario in his element, and that's the kind of thing that should bring a big old grin to any fan's face. So why is it that instead of being overwhelmed by the cover's charm, I find myself a little creeped out? Looking back at it now, I think a lot of it has to do with Yoshi. There's just something about the way he's looking at that dolphin that concerns me. And guys, I'm not saying that just for comic effect, because Yoshi's looking at that poor dolphin like King Hippo looks at cake. And thanks to playing Super Mario World, I know a little too much about Yoshi's digestive process. Mario may be oblivious to Yoshi's plan, but you and I both know that a dolphin egg is about to get pooped out. But look, maybe I'm wrong, and Yoshi's satisfied to just jump on a dolphin's back. But that still doesn't explain what Nintendo Power means when they say that Yoshi and Mario fly super high. As far as I can tell, the duo is barely skimming the water. If jumping just a few inches off the ground is all it takes to fly super high, then I really need to go and update my resume immediately with a new skill. Oh, I'm certainly in the minority here, but this issue is the birth of my deep-seated distrust of Yoshi. So just when I thought that Nintendo had rediscovered their passion for making great cover designs, they give us Star Trek. Yeah, like the guy who puts on that red shirt before beaming down to a hostile planet, this cover was doomed from the start. Look, this is nothing more than a cropped image from a production still. Instead of crafting a model or drawing a picture, Nintendo Power opted to simply take a still image from a Star Trek movie. And because magazine proportions aren't wide enough, somebody had to go in and crop out part of the Enterprise. At most, it took somebody like 5 minutes to get the provided picture lined up perfectly. And that's being generous. Alright, but let me be serious for a minute. This is not the reason I started reviewing Nintendo Power covers. I mean, I mostly started these episodes because it gave me a break from reviewing yet another 2D platformer, but do you remember how amazing that Super Mario Bros. 2 cover was? Or what about Mega Man 2? Oh, Maniac Mansion! Even Nintendo Power's cheesiest covers still had a certain charm to them. This is absurdly lazy and makes me wonder if I should even continue doing this series. It's especially frustrating when you look at what the cover could have been. I mean, they could have gone with F-Zero on the Super NES. I mean, talk about a great way to follow up the Super Mario World issue, right? Or what about Metroid? Samus could have been the first woman on a Nintendo Power cover since September of 1990. That was over a year ago. Even Castlevania 2 would have been a better choice than boring old Star Trek. And don't you dare come at me because I'm a fan of both the shows and the movies. Yeah, this is one of Nintendo Power's worst covers. Alright, I hate to bring the mood down, but ever since Christopher Reeve was paralyzed in 1995, I've had a fear of horses. Not so much the horse itself, but rather the act of falling off and, breaking my neck or something. Of course, that's nothing compared to flying on the back of a giant bird. In that sense, this Nintendo Power cover does a great job of putting everything in perspective. As painful as falling off a horse surely is, it's a whole lot different than plummeting hundreds of feet to your untimely death. Ugh, putting depressing horror stories about animal-related injuries aside, this Final Fantasy II cover is a strong rebound after last month's Star Trek disaster. More importantly, this is a massive upgrade from the first Final Fantasy cover. This time around, we have art that actually captures the spirit of the series. We see an adventurer and his sword. Off in the distance, an ominous castle is dwarfed by the bright moon. Yeah, with artwork like this, I find it credible when Nintendo Power teases us with might, mystery, and magic. Now, with the bright moon in the distance, you may not have even noticed the Mist Dragon about to take a swipe at the flying bird. That castle's gonna have to wait because our colorful hero is about to find himself in the middle of a random battle. I love it, and this is exactly what I want out of a role-playing game on the cover. This is just a great design, even if it may appear simple at first glance. Nintendo Power could have made the well-received sequel look like a cartoon full of big-eyed heroes and adorable bad guys. I mean, I'm sure there was somebody on staff arguing that bright and happy translates to mass market appeal. Thankfully, the artist decides to honor the Super NES title with a drawing that is arguably even more serious than the actual game. Not only does it capture what is great about Final Fantasy, but it gets me excited to fight that giant moon in the distance. This is a good cover. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Nintendo Power Uncovered. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now here's the question I have for you. How would you rank these three covers? Was I way off, or do you think I got it about right? Let me see your thoughts and grades in the comments below. In other news, I'm excited for the weekend, but the action continues next week. I'm currently knee-deep in reviews and still need to announce our big holiday special. Or maybe I already have. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.